Previously on Land of the Free.
Big breaking political news out of Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz, who of course was the Democratic nominee for vice president in 2024, has ended his re-election bid for governor. He is not going to run for re-election. This comes as pressure has been growing around this widening welfare fraud scandal. Now, Walz has not been accused of any wrongdoing, but it has been a growing political headache.
Man, there's been a lot of noise coming out of Minnesota involving fraud lately. And initially, I thought it was just a little bit of faux partisan outrage.
As I said on Monday, good riddance to Governor Walz, but he cannot escape accountability for the estimated $9 billion in fraud. How did this happen? And where the hell has the Twin Cities media been? The Star Tribune is complicit. They have had this story for years, if you just heard, and they've refused to report anything on it. In fact, they continue to try and cover up. Our Minnesota Republican colleagues have demanded answers and accountability for years, but have seen nothing from Walz, his administration, our Democrat colleagues like Tina Smith, Amy Klobuchar, Ilhan Omar.
And that was until I saw Pink Book Lessons' nice video on the Somalian Trojan horse technique. And then that was followed by last week, the announcement that Governor Walz was not going to seek a third term as governor in Minnesota.
But it is that deepening federal probe, as well as this widening scandal. As you said, he is not implicated in this at all. This is actually somewhat old news in Minnesota. This has been going on for years and years. The prosecution started back during the Biden administration, but over the holidays, it certainly did widen.
That gave me pause and reason to believe that this was not just a little bit of partisan smoke. There may be actual fire here. Now, what exactly happened? What was the scale of it? Who was involved? How did they do it? Was Governor Walz complicit and asleep at the wheel? And are the Republicans now the ultimate fraud warriors? Let's find out. In this video, we're going to be focusing on Feeding Our Future. Feeding Our Future was the initial program that got the spotlight put on Minnesota in the first place. That spotlight brought on further scrutiny onto the state, in which they started probing daycare fraud as well as Medicare fraud. Now, if you guys want me to do a dive into the daycare and Medicare fraud, please leave a comment in this video. But for now, we're going to get on with Feeding Our Future. So let's get to it. Alrighty, gonna hop over here to the United States Attorney's Office, District of Minnesota. All right, press release. What do we have here? Federal jury finds Feeding Our Future mastermind and co-defendant guilty in $250 million pandemic fraud scheme. All right, we're going to jump around here, see who the actors are. We've got Amy Bach and Salim, I doubt it's said, let's say it's Syed, took advantage of COVID-19 pandemic to carry out a massive fraud scheme that stole money meant to feed children, said acting U.S. Attorney Lisa D. Kirkpatrick. All right. The defendants falsely claimed to have served 91 million meals, for which they fraudulently received $250 million in federal funds. The money did not go to feed kids. Instead, it was used to fund their lavish lifestyles. Today's verdict sends a message to the community that fraud against the government will not be tolerated. All right, we're going to skip down here to some details about the program. Historically, yeah, right here. All right. Historically, the Federal Child Nutrition provided meals to children in school-based programs or activities. During COVID-19 pandemic, the U.S. Department of Agriculture waived some of the standard requirements for participation in the Federal Child Nutrition Program. Amongst other things, the USDA allowed for-profit restaurants to participate in the program, as well as allowed for off-site food distribution to children outside of educational programs. As proven at trial, Amy Bach, 44, was the founder and executive director for Feeding Our Future, a nonprofit organization that was a sponsor participating in federal child nutrition program. Salim Syed, 36, former co-owner of Safari Restaurant, was jointly tried with Bach. Together, they oversaw a massive fraud scheme carried out by sites under Feeding Our Future sponsorship. Right? let's go down here and get to some specifics. All right, specifics. Let's get to some specifics of the trial. What did they do? How did they do it? Here we go. Oh, here we go. All right. As proven at trial, Syed Safari Restaurant reported approximately $600,000 in annual revenue each of the 3 years prior to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. In April of 2020, Safari Restaurant enrolled in the federal child nutrition program under the sponsorship of Feeding Our Future. By July 2020, Syed claimed to be serving meals to 5,000 children per day, 7 days a week. All right. In total, Syed claimed to have served over 3.9 million meals to children from the Safari Restaurant site between April 2020 and November 2021. Syed claimed that Safari Restaurant provided more than 2.2 million meals to other food sites involved in the Feeding Our Future scheme. In total, Feeding Our Future opened more than 250 federal child nutrition program sites through the state of Minnesota, and in doing so, went from receiving distributions approximately $3.4 million in federal funds in 2019 and to nearly $200 million in 2021. Throughout the course of this scheme, Feeding Our Future fraudulently obtained and dispersed more than $240 million in federal child nutrition program funds. The defendants used the proceeds of their fraudulent scheme to purchase luxury vehicles, residential and commercial real estate in Minnesota, as well as property in Ohio, Kentucky, and real estate in Kenya, Turkey, and fund international travel. Okay, let's see what Governor Walz did about it.
Make no mistake, we should be concerned about fraud in our state government. We cannot effectively deliver programs and services if we can't earn the public's trust. That's why over the past few years, we've made systemic changes in the way we do business. We've gone to the legislature time and time again to get more tools to combat fraud. We fired people who weren't doing their jobs.
5 investigates following up on a key claim the governor made during his surprise announcement yesterday.
He told reporters that he has fired people who should have been looking out for fraud. Ryan tried to figure out who exactly has been held accountable.
One of the main sticking points we've heard repeatedly from critics is that nobody has lost their job in the Walz administration over fraud. We've seen some departures described as resignations and the ambiguous term separation. But who's actually been fired? We're still looking.
No doubt about it. Not a good look. Not a good look at all. While the intention of these programs may have meant well, there was not enough oversight and safeguards in place during the implementation. This is the reason why many Americans do not like government programs trying to fix social issues. Many wealthier Americans will even go as far as to call these social programs wealth distribution. And when there's blatant mismanagement in a program that leads to abuse to this magnitude, one can almost understand that argument. So, does this mean that the GOP are the ultimate anti-fraud warriors? Not exactly. Let's take a look at the presidential pardons of 2025. Alrighty, we have jumped over here right quick, and we're looking at the list of recipients of executive clemency from, come on man, you can't just say Trump, it's from President Donald J. Trump, all right? And as you can see over here in the top right hand corner, we are filtering these charges by those who have fraud in them. So we're going to skip around looking for the fraud. So we go to who is the first person, because surely we don't have fraudsters pardoned. Of course we do, right? First guy, right? Ross Ulbricht, right? Southern District of New York, all right? In prison for 40 years, had a $180 million fine. He's like almost at the Minnesota stuff by himself. And what did he have here? Fraud with identification documents and conspiracy to commit money laundering. He's probably the only one. All right, nope. Next person, Rod Blagojevich, right? Northern District of Illinois. Wire fraud, small fine, $20,000. So he probably didn't do that much, but wire fraud here, conspiracy, attempted to extort, blah, blah, blah. All right, it's not too shabby. I mean, it couldn't have been too bad for $20,000. All right, next person, Brian Kelsey. Conspiracy to defraud the United States in violation, right? of whatever this code 18 is, but we got here Ryan with aiding and abetting acceptance of campaign contributions. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't care about that at all. Just seriously, we just don't care. This what I do. 43 mil. Who is this? Devin Archer. Fraud. Conspiracy to commit securities fraud. We don't play that, bro. You gotta have your securities registered. You can't be running around selling unregistered securities. And that's what you did. God dang it, another one. Trevor Milton, securities and wire fraud. Oh my God. All of these fraudulent pardoned people. Michelle Fiore. What do we have? Conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Man, there are a lot of wire fraudsters and securities frauds. Like, we're supposed to want fair and open markets, right? What do we have all these fraudulent securities people are running around here? Well, we don't appreciate that. Scott Jenkins, $600. We don't care. That's little stuff. He should have been pardoned. He really should have. Got a couple of, we got a couple of here. I'm like, just under 20 mil. Who is this? The freaking Chrisleys. Forgot about that. They did get pardoned. And of course, yes, they were with, and what did they have here? Bank fraud and tax evasion. And speaking of famous people pardoned, there's another big pardoned fraudster. Let's check him out right quick. As a couple of years ago, maybe around 2022 or so, this guy and his company came through my firm and I flagged them, and it was escalated and we did not do business with this individual. And like a few months later, I saw he was arrested. So yeah, anyway, addressing Trump's claim about the pardon of Binance founder, all right? In defending his October 23rd pardon of Binance founder Changpeng Zhao, President Trump claimed that Zhao was a victim of a Biden administration witch hunt. The billionaire executive known as CZ pled guilty to allowing money laundering through his cryptocurrency company. He was fined $50 million and served 4 months sentence in a low security prison and halfway house. Trump's comments came during November 2nd interview on CBS News 60 Minutes. Trump said, "I don't know who he is. I know nothing about the guy. Though Zhao's company assisted in business dealings that benefit World Liberty Financial, the crypto venture run by Trump's sons, Eric and Donald Jr." So it does not appear that this fraud thing in Minnesota is exaggerated. In fact, it was quite egregious. Does this mean that the sudden focus on fraud by the GOP wasn't politically motivated? No, it does not. Being able to pin fraud on the Dems is absolutely golden right now. And the fact that a large number of the alleged fraudsters were Somali was extra red meat for the base. Good people, let me know what you all think. What types of guardrails and transparency should be in place in large programs like this? And are physical spot checks too much to ask on these services? Engage and let me know. Until next time, you guys, peace and stay informed.